Hello, Indigo Children, Light Workers, Enchanted Jewels family, and those of you guys that are just learning to actually awaken yourselves. I hope everyone's doing well. Almost at the end of the year, so whoop whoop. However, with it almost being the end of the year, we have come across everybody's not so favorite time of the year, Mercury's retrograde. A bump, bump, bump. Yeah. So for those of you guys that actually know what a Mercury retrograde is, kudos to you, because yeah, like if you've experienced it before, you know like the pros and cons and the benefits and the not so good benefits of Mercury's retrograde. So that's actually today's topic. What I'm going to be covering is actually working with Mercury's retrograde and dealing with awakening the throat chakra as well, which is why I have some crystals here aligned with the energy of assisting in the throat chakra. We have blue apatite, turquoise, amazonite, a blue kyanite, and some blue calcite pieces around. So just for you guys that were wondering what's what, apatite, blue kyanite, turquoise, blue calcite. Am I missing anything? No. Oh, and amazonite. Whoop whoop. So I wanted to make sure that we got like some of the best throat chakra crystals available. Ha ha. Okay. So and then there's a clear quartz in the middle. So if you guys ever want anything as like pendants, order them as stones. You can always order them off of EJ Beads or come to our shop located at the Lauderhill Mall off of State Road 7. But now getting into everything as far as Mercury's retrograde and working with the throat chakra goes. So so I'm just going to be covering the pros and cons of it. I'm going to be covering the way you can kind of clear your throat chakra and open it up during this like crucial time of the year, because this Mercury's retrograde starting on December 2nd is going to be in Sagittarius. Joy to the world. No sarcasm here. No, that was lots of sarcasm intended. But yeah, and then usually Mercury goes retrograde like 3 times a year. However, we had the beautiful delight of it going 4 times a year. 4th the time being in a fire sign. This is great. It's great. Loving it. Who's in charge of the constellations up there? I don't know. Wait, we do know. But that's not important. Actually, it is. Okay, I'm babbling. Okay. But, anyways, so just covering the scientific fact of what retrograde is, and then going into the spiritual of what a retrograde period is. So Mercury's retrograde is actually when the planet Mercury goes, like, it appears to Earth as if it's sort of moving in a backwards motion. However, it's not moving backwards. It's just going a little bit more slower in its rotation than usual. And there's a few other planets that go into retrograde, but we'll cover those when it's time to hit those topics. But as far as Mercury's retrograde is concerned, on a spiritual level, like for those of you wondering, okay, get to the point. What does that have to do with anything? Mercury's retrograde is actually when so how it affects Earth is, as you know, everything's interconnected. Whether it's the stars, the moon, the constellations, Earth in general, but most people sometimes discredit the psychological, emotional, and spiritual effects that other planets have on Earth as well. So with that being said, everything is interconnected, and sometimes you have to look at life as a big giant spider web, because what happens to one can affect the whole chain reaction. say if you put a droplet of water on a spider web, it's not just going to stay in that one area. However, it will trigger the emotion and the vibration frequency of carrying out an energy through the whole spider web. And that's basically how planets affect Earth as well, knowing that everything carries a vibration frequency. And Mercury being the planet of communication, for those of you that are into Roman mythology, you'll know that Mercury was actually the messenger of the heavens. And with that being said, Mercury has always been the planet of messages and of communications. And just going just a little bit off topic, but also like even the days of the week, each one has a certain planet aligned with it. And Wednesdays are actually Mercury's day that Mercury rules over Wednesdays. But getting back into topic, so basically, Mercury being the planet of communication, being the planet of just like getting messages and your point across, and of deliveries and packages. When it goes retrograde, it actually can affect Earth in that manner. It actually affects Earth as far as people's communication skills. When it's going through this retrograde period, people become less likely to commune. Or say if you tell someone, oh, meet me at 10 o'clock, and they're like, I thought we were meeting up at 8 o'clock. And it's just like, all right, clearly, like, where did I go wrong in my text messaging with our communication skills? Like, so, yeah, so just like little things like that. Usually when Mercury's in retrograde, Mercury also has this effect on Earth where it kind of affects like the magnetic pollution of the way technology works. And like I said, it's going into full retrograde December 2nd. However, usually before Mercury hits retrograde, there's something called a pre-shadow phase, which we usually feel 2 weeks in advance. So if you feel like lately everything has been a little bit more antsy, a little bit more out of order, if you feel like, okay, like why is no one communicating clearly? It's probably because when Mercury hits that pre-shadow phase, it's just preparing you for what's actually to come. But I don't want to scare you guys into thinking that there's only cons behind a retrograde. So in the next video, we're actually going to be covering the pros, the cons, how to avoid it, and how to work with your crystals during this time. So stay on the lookout for part 2.